Next, I'm going to show you widgets in Localist. So widgets are a great way to take Localist content and share it outside of Localist. So if you have your own website and you'd like to take events from your Localist platform and show them on your website, that's what widgets are meant for. So just to show you an example of some widgets in action, if we go over here to Notre Dame of Maryland University, this is their homepage, ndm.edu. And if we scroll down a little bit, you see there's this upcoming events box. This is actually a Localist widget. It's being powered completely by Localist, and it's all automatic. So as you add events into Localist, they'll automatically appear here. One thing to note, clicking any of these links will take you right to the calendar. So it's a great way to always drive traffic back to the calendar. You're not losing out by pointing people elsewhere. Another example, University of the Pacific. If we scroll down here, this is actually two widgets. You can see there's this featured event widget and then also a highlighted events widget. These are two Localist widgets kind of stacked on top of each other. But as you can see, they really adopt the look and feel of the web page. So the goal is really for your end users not to think that they're being shown a completely different technology. And lastly, Columbia College Chicago's homepage here, colum.edu. And on the right side, we have this Events at Columbia widget. So this is what's known as a list style widget, and I'll show you how to build that and other widgets right now. So it's important to note that the widget building page is a helper for creating a Localist widget, and it's actually accessible not just by admins, but by anybody. They don't even need to be a user on the system. Just for reference, we do have a link to it in admin. If you mouse over content and go down to Widget Builder, it will take you to that public-facing Widget Builder page. So just to give you some more background on the philosophy behind making this builder available to everyone, the idea is you want people to share your event content, and you want to make it as easy as possible for them to share that information. So that's why we have this widget builder. It still drives traffic back to your main Localist platform, but it also eliminates a lot of duplicate entry, and it really simplifies things for both administrators and users. So just showing you the going through the widget builder fields here. As I said, for our example, we're going to use the list widget type. We also have a mini calendar plus list, and I'll show that a bit later on. For content type, this org/community dropdown, this is just what this is saying is you want to pull in events from your entire platform. You also have the choice of places. This allows you to only show widgets associated with a certain place on your platform. For number of results, you can limit it to just one, and that's something that the University of the Pacific did with that featured widget. They only wanted to show one featured event. For example's sake, we'll say 20. For days ahead, it defaults to 31, which is essentially the next month of events. But you could also create a widget that says maybe the next week's most popular events, and that will show the next 7 days. For event type, this pulls from your platform's taxonomy, and this is, we go over content taxonomy in another Localist video. So you define all of these filters in admin, and then the user can go in and choose which filters they would like to create a widget from. Similarly with departments, again, this is defined in admin. If the English department has their own website, or let's say the library has its own website, you can create a widget just that shows upcoming library events. So again, a great way to eliminate duplicate entry. They can just come into Localist, enter the event once, and then it will automatically appear on the library's website. For keywords, this is a great way to collect events together that are seemingly disparate and bring them all together under a single widget. So for example, if you had several homecoming events and all of them had different event types and different titles, you could collect all of them together by giving them the same keyword, say, for example, homecoming 2012 or 2013. And you can just define that in the widget. Then this widget will only pull events that have that specific keyword associated with it. For groups, if you have any groups defined, you can create a widget that just shows events associated with that individual group. But for example, here we're just going to leave it off so it brings all events that are in the system. If only show featured is checked, this is something that the University of the Pacific defined for this top featured event widget. So if the event is marked as featured on your platform, it will create a widget that only shows those events. And similarly with sponsored, if the widget has this checked, it will only pull down sponsored events. So it's a great way to potentially be a revenue generator for your platform, where if you have some promoters paying for their event to be sponsored, you can create a special widget for them as well. So the default format is a JavaScript snippet. So when I click Generate Widget Code, it gives me this snippet of code here. And all I have to do is paste this on the web page that I'd like the widget to appear on. For example, though, I'm just going to switch this format to HTML. And this will actually allow us to see what the widget looks like. So if I open a new tab, this is what the widget looks like. So as you can see, it's not the most prettiest thing in the world, and this is intentional, believe it or not. The idea is we serve up widgets completely unstyled. We kind of create a basic structure for you to work from, but the page that it's being placed on could look like anything. As you saw with the previous examples, every widget looks completely different as it's being placed on a totally different website. So we didn't want to create a lot of work for your developers or webmasters having to kind of re-engineer the style that we provided. So by default, everything comes out unstyled. As you can see, when I change the width of the browser window here, it actually changes the width of the content as well. So it will adopt the size of whatever container it's being placed in, but as far as colors and behavior and fields that appear, that's totally up to you. So going back to the builder here, we actually do have many more powerful ways to refine the results that show up in these widgets. And that's all defined in the knowledge base. So you'll see this link on the right side here to go to the knowledge base. This will take you to a page that outlines all of the parameters that are available in the widget, and it will really allow you to really dial in a great looking widget. So earlier I mentioned an additional type. So we have this mini calendar plus list widget type. So if I generate this, you'll see it's very similar. It has the list of events, but with this big difference here. It has a mini calendar. So when I click the different dates, it will actually update the list below. Great little bit of UI here to get users to click around and they don't get taken to a separate page to see what events are coming up. Again, it's built to have this basic structure, but presumably it's going to appear differently on whatever page it's being placed on. So we try to get that structure in and then leave it to your team to make it look great. One last thing to mention is clicking any of these links will always take you directly to the event page. So we built this widget on Columbia's platform, so clicking this right here will take us right to the event page on Columbia's platform. So again, it's a great way to drive traffic. With some platforms, we see widgets generating up to 40% of traffic to your calendar, so definitely something to take note of. So that's widgets and Localist.